I joined the Lifegroup 2022. That's where I met Michelle.
Yeah, so I joined Chapel Springs in 2022, and then I came to Lifegroup, and I think you were one of the first people I met.
Yes.
And she said, I said, I hear your accent, where are you from? And she said, I'm from Kenya, and I have such a love in my heart for Kenya. My heart was like in Kenya already because of this connection, and then I go to Lifegroup, I'm meeting everyone, and she says, I'm from Kenya. And I was like, you're from Kenya? And so we immediately have just a spark and a connection. Yes. I told her I always wanted to go to Kenya, and she said, you should come with me at Christmas. I said, like, this Christmas?
So my sister came in 2022. My sister was so tired. She had the jet lag, and I'm like, we are home, and I'm like, let's go to my life group. Yeah. She said, I would love for you guys to come and minister our church in Kenya. Like the simple little things she said.
Little invitation.
Little invitation. Mm-hmm. Little did I know somebody here took that to heart.
I said, yes, let's go. When are we going? I would say where God, what love God has put in your heart is maybe where He's calling you to. I have absolutely no reason why I had a love for this country and the heart of Africa, except through my experience with my volunteer work and my heart. And I prayed for Patrick Murray for 15 years and grown to really love him. So where He has given you, He's given Regina and I a passion to teach. And talents and giftings for that. And so this was like my first time I was able to use my talents and gifts with my love and my heart. It was just an interesting way to see God kind of orchestrate it all. So that's my answer. Where your heart is maybe where God is calling you to serve. Yeah.
And there's always somebody waiting at the end of your obedience.
Yes.
I think you just
that's good.
Like God will provide the way He will lead you. There's always somebody waiting once you choose to obey.
Oh, that's wonderful, because she had mentioned that there's someone always on the other side of your obedience. Oh. And I think it's amazing, because if you remember when we were in the session with the young adults, they call them youth there, the 18 to 30-year-olds. The thing that even prompted some of the miracles, I think, was the first Sunday we arrived there, wee hours of the morning, and we got to our rooms at 4, and then we're back at the church at 10 that morning.
I think it was, we got just a couple hours of sleep.
But, and then the Pastor Simon said, oh, by the way, you all are preaching today. You all are the lesson. We're like, oh, Jesus.
You have Sunday school and the service. And we had like 3 hours of sleep, and we'd been traveling for over 24 hours. Yeah.
So
that was all
definitely God. On the other end of our obedience, it was amazing, because we could only rely on God.
Yes.
And through that, another story with the obedience, through our prayers, series prayers. That particular Sunday, we mentioned, it's starting tomorrow, it's starting on Monday, and we challenged them to say, we challenge you to come because God has something for you. Yeah. And there was a young lady that she had just lost her mom. But she took that invitation to heart. She invited a young man that she passed at a dumpster. He was in a dumpster looking for food. And she stopped and invited him to the church. That young man, just the transformation of God. Like, he came to the knowledge of Jesus sitting in the room.
And you could see it. Do you remember his face?
Yes,
he came in and his face was down. Yes. And he wouldn't even look up. And then as we went, do you remember?
I remember his name.
Simon King. I've been praying every day for Simon King. And his face, do you remember? He started gradually looking up.
Yeah.
And then by the end, he had his head up. He raised his hand. Do you remember in that session? And then
And the thing, another thing about that, how we couldn't have done this if it had just been the Americans going,
No.
because
No.
he only understood
Yes.
Swahili.
Yes.
Swahili, and so Jane,
Yes.
her sister, she was the interpreter that day, and I was in. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she
it
did.
was just amazing.
Yeah.
Like we literally, as we all described,
Yeah.
we saw his countenance change.
Absolutely.
And just under an hour in,
Yes.
it's like, okay, God,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
just amazing,
Yes.
amazing.
Yes. My practical advice would be to find people to strengthen the team with different giftings and abilities, and to really come together and see what a more complete picture you are, using each other's strengths and weaknesses and experiences.
And I'd say that you don't have to feel like you need to go to Kenya. That may not be clearly your calling.
Yes.
He may have called you or given you a sensitivity for something local.
Yeah.
And God has something for your life group to do there
Yeah.
that will just change and transforms lives completely. We are not talking about exactly what the next trip will be. We're hoping that God will allow us in Chapel Springs even to do something in Kenya, because there is just amazing how they are just hungry for God and willing to just take his word and go forward. And so we're that's what's on the horizon, but we're gonna trust God for whatever he says to do. We now know, okay, if we're obedient, he's gonna do amazing things.
Yeah.